is some old Victorian slang vocabulary words. Brike means brave or fierce. Brouhaha is a commotion, uproar, fuss. Church bell is a talkative woman. Farthings is a monetary unit in Old England. 1 shilling equals 1/4 of a penny. Full to the brim means no vacancy, no room. Gander means to see. Jibface is an ugly person, especially one with a heavy lower jaw. Guinea is a monetary unit in Old England. 1 guinea equals 21 shillings, a pound. Heavens to Betsy is a mild American exclamation of shock or surprise. Hobnobbing means socializing. Hoi polloi is the masses, common people. Hullabaloo is a commotion, uproar, fuss. In the trenches means where action takes place. Livery is stable where horses are kept. Magistrate is a governor. Parish pickaxe is a prominent nose. Philanderer is a man who enjoys pursuing a lot of different women without becoming emotionally involved with any one of them. Podsnapper is a person with a willful determination to ignore the objectionable or inconvenient, at the same time assuming airs of superior virtue and noble resignation. Ruffians is a boisterous, brutal fellow, one ready to commit any crime. Sack means to remove from one's employ. Shillings is a monetary unit in Old England. 1 shilling, 1/20 of a pound. Stronger spirits is alcoholic beverages. Stumped means to not know what to do or say. Confused, blocked. Substance means wealth.
Synopsis: the gas lights that line the street have been lit. The silver is polished. The orchestra has been hired and the menu prepared for an event steeped in tradition for the past 400 years, passed down from one generation to the next, Lady Granger's Christmas Gala. Everyone is resplendent in their best holiday apparel as the hour draws near for the gala to begin. There is excitement brewing in the nearby village as a newborn babe draws its first breath, changing everything.
The gas lights that line the street have been lit. The silver has been polished, the orchestra hired, and the menu prepared for Lady Granger's Christmas Gala. An event steeped in tradition for the past 400 years, passed down from one generation to the next. Everyone is resplendent in their best Christmas apparel as the hour draws near for the gala to begin. But there's an excitement brewing in a nearby village as a newborn babe draws its first breath, changing everything.
I did. For how long have you worked for this household, Winston?
So many years I have lost count, my lady.
And are you happy here?
I am content, ma'am.
And would you say that you were able to anticipate what our needs are before we even ask?
I believe so. Most days are fairly routine. But I fear I have failed to surmise what is troubling you at this moment, so if you have a question, I would ask that you ask it so that we may be done with this proverbial game of cat and mouse.
Oh, Winston, never one to mince words. Perhaps you can tell me why the guests have not yet arrived for our annual Christmas Gala. It is, after all, the highlight of the social season.
Oh, I can answer that one. There seems to be some sort of brouhaha in the village, and everyone is flocked there to see what all the excitement's about.
More exciting than our Christmas Gala? Why, this has been a village tradition for generations. Is this true, Winston?
I fear, my lady, that Miss Catherine's account is entirely correct. The Shepherd and King's families have sent their profuse apologies, as have most of the rest of the village. I think something has attracted their attention.
Well, I say this is quite unfortunate. Miss Evelyn has been practicing her descant to "O Come All Ye Faithful" for weeks.
Oh, what do you mean? No one is coming? Whomever shall I sing to? I've worked so hard, and how will I ever find a suitor if no one comes to see me perform? We've included invitations to several eligible bachelors in town.
Oh, well, we have received confirmations from Mr. Fizzywiggins, Mr. Hortonsnort,
yes.
Mr. Tweedlebaum, and Mr. Higgledy Smith.
Oh, Higgledy Smith.
Not Mr. Higgledy Smith!
Why ever not? What is wrong with Mr. Higgledy Smith?
But Mr. Higgledy Smith! Oh!
Pray tell, sister, what is wrong with him? He comes from good breeding, and he's a banker, so no need in security worries.
No! Mr. Higgledy Smith, he's 5 foot, 400 pounds of him, and he's a regular gift face, and he has a lazy eye, and I never knew which one to look at. To stare at the lazy eye.
Oh my, sister, you are running out of options then.
Oh, heavens to Betsy, girl, what a spell you are, clamoring on about songs and suitors. You're a Granger, after all.
Pull yourself together.
Besides, you could sing it for us, Edie. No sense in wasting all that Granger talent.
Indeed, Miss Evelyn, it would be a tragedy to miss it. Shall I pour the tea?
Indeed, Winston.
This is exactly what I feared would happen when we allowed common folks into this hallowed halls at Christmas.
That was 400 years ago.
Well, it just seems like yesterday. I knew such modernizations would never work. Hobnobbing with the hoi polloi was bound to lead to trouble.
Oh, Grandmama, setting my singing of songs aside, the hullabaloo in town does sound rather exciting. There's been a baby born, and apparently everyone's gone to have a gander.
Wonderful, I'm sure, but hardly front page news. Babies are common enough, you know. There's one born every day.
Yes.
Charles, what is your take on the matter?
Huh? Oh, I'm sure I do not know. I've been so preoccupied with my next manuscript, I've barely had time to consider Christmas at all this year. My editor is expecting a great novel from me, and I've just been so busy, and I'm just stumped.
It happens to the best of us, sir.
What will this one be about?
I can tell you if I wanted to,
How absurd. Why ever not?
because I do not know myself.
You do not know yourself? What a silly thing to say, Charles. Well, of course you know who you are.
Yes, I know who I am. I only meant I do not yet know what the story will be about.
Oh, I see.
Well, the title then. What shall you call it? A fetching title is sure to inspire you. I know. I bet we can make suggestions.
I know. Christmas in Devonshire.
Romantic,
Or
yes.
how about a mystery? Murder under the mistletoe.
Oh, what a dreadful notion.
I appreciate your concern, Lady Granger, but I am not much of a mystery writer. I'm looking for something that is an account of everyday normality, that interjects excitement and intrigue with things of the traditional past, with ideas of the present. Maybe something with a twist to it.
I'll have a twist.
Well, perhaps I should write the story first and then give it a fetching title.
Well, it would appear that you're having a Dickens of a Christmas.
Yes, I suppose I am. A Dickens of a Christmas indeed.
Tell me, Evelyn, just where did this astounding birth take place?
the Red Lion Inn.
The Red Lion?
And what on earth were you doing in such an ill-gotten place? A young lady of your stature could have her reputation severely tarnished if seen patronizing such an establishment.
Oh, honestly, Evelyn, you should have known better. Had you been discovered, they would have thought you a bricky little pod snapper. Did they teach you nothing of propriety in that finishing school?
Grandmama, I certainly did not grace the inn with my presence. I have no desire whatsoever to pay any attention to the patrons in that place. No good could possibly come of it.
Then how did you come to know of the events taking place at such a disgraceful place?
An acquaintance of mine, Lady Cecilia's cousin, second brother, Timothy.
Timothy? That is rather informal for a mere acquaintance, as you put it.
Do not worry yourself about it, Miss Catherine. I know him well, and I can vouch for his character. You were saying, Evie?
Well, Mr. Cratchit is in town on holiday for Christmas festivities. He ran into one of his friends in town who relayed the tale to him, who in turn told his cousin, who in turn told Lady Cecilia, who told me, and now I am telling you of this extraordinary news.
The Red Lion, you say?
Yes. Apparently there was no room in the Red Lion, so they had to bed down in the livery stable next to the Red Lion.
The stable?
And that's not all. There's a choir there too, just turned up out of thin air. All things considered, I wouldn't mind venturing to town to see what all the hullabaloo is about.
I will not permit my daughter to parade through town unaccompanied.
I quite agree.
Charles may accompany me.
Me?
Oh, would you, Charles? It would mean so much to me if you could be my escort.
But I'm quite busy with my book. I really should,
You mean the book you haven't started yet? The book that doesn't even merit a title?
Oh, please.
That book, Charles?
Please, Charles, it could be your Christmas present to me.
Well, I will give it some thought. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Mr. Cratchit out and about as well. Would that suit you?
I would not be opposed to the idea if he happens to be out this evening.
Winston, has the staff said anything about this matter?
Only that a crowd of ruffians have indeed turned up to serenade the child, no doubt after partaking in the stronger spirits available at the Red Lion.
No doubt on their way to the next watering hole, should someone be foolish enough to drop a few copper coins into the hat.
Be that as it may. The whole thing has clearly diverted attention away from our gala this year, and this evening, and well, it's a poor show when the village finds a baby more important than coming to hear Miss Evelyn sing her carols or to listen to my annual speech of patronizing condensation.
Condescension, ma'am.
Confound it, Winston, that's what I said. Don't contradict me.
My apologies, ma'am.
Charlie is civilized, I call it.
Indeed. Winston, send for the innkeeper. I should very much like to hear what he has to say about this unexpected event.
Yes, ma'am.
There is an innkeeper here in our home, and you consented to this.
Would you have me grace his establishment?
Oh, well, I guess I see what you mean then.
Yes. Ah.
Perhaps it would be helpful to hear the story from the horse's mouth, as it were.
Oh, from the horse's mouth. Oh, Winston, I should think we should have the whinny and snort to communicate in equestrian manner.
He wouldn't actually be speaking to the horse. It's a figure of speech. He only meant it would be best to hear the story from the source.
Oh,
Quite right.
I don't get to talk to the horse.
No speaking to the horses, Evie. Send for him at once, Winston.
Yes, my lady.
Honestly, that manner of man in this manner.
And you know, what if someone would have seen him arrive even questioned what he was doing here.
That's right. What would people say?
It's the very notion of impropriety in our home, and with you trying to impress the potential suitors.
Oh, what will people say, Mama?
Well, it would be disgraceful for me to go down there, as we've already established.
Look, set your mind at ease, ladies. He will only be here long enough to tell us about the child.
And then you will take me to see the baby.
Very well, but then I must return to my writings. However, if the child is something important, then I guess it would be worth seeing.
Oh, please, Charles. However could a baby born in a public place be anyone special? Really?
Yes.
Quite right. And who are his parents, pray tell?
Well, they're no one of any importance, or we would have been notified.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't some hint of scandal. The Red Lion, indeed.
And you know, what on earth were they doing bringing a child into the world in a livery stable?
Yes. So unhygienic. All manner of lice milling about, people with influenza and the plague.
And to what disease are you referring to, Dowager?
Well, it wouldn't be Christian of me to say.
But the reference has already been rendered. Pray tell, give us an example. What exactly is wrong with the people of Baker Street?
Well, if you must know, philanderers.
Philanderers?
Philanderous?
Philanderous, Grandmama?
Philanderers? And just how many philanderers are you acquainted with?
Charles!
I would hate to think you were using such vocabulary without a firm grasp of its meaning.
I know what a philander is. It's those lazy good-for-nothings that lurk about the street, pretending to be men of substance, just so they can beg charity from us. And what do they do with our charity? They cast it to the wind like pearls before swine, just so they can masquerade as men and lure innocent young ladies into a life of ill repute. Then their spawn run about the street begging for more charity in their raggle-taggle clothing, when this whole thing could have been prevented in the first place if we had just withheld our farthings and guineas from the wastrels to begin with.
Is it not our Christian duty to help the least of these? Are we to hold these children responsible for the sins of their parents?
Well, God helps those who help themselves.
When you are quite finished looking down your parish pickaxe at the woes of the least desirable, as it were, perhaps you can explain to me why you suppose God does that. Are we not expected to bless others out of the abundance He has blessed us with?
Such impertinence! How dare you speak to me in such a manner?
Charles! Control yourself.
And you would do well to remember that you are a guest in our home.
Forgive me for my outburst, ladies. And my apologies, madame. I did not intend to offend you. I meant to accuse you.
Oh, Mama! Perhaps you and the ladies would be more comfortable in the drawing room until our guests arrive. Evie, have one of the servants stoke the fireplace. I wouldn't want you to catch a chill.
Yes, Mama. You'll fetch us before we just see the baby, won't you?
Of course, you needn't worry. And Lady Granger, if I am not needed, I will be about my work. And have Winston send for me once Miss Evelyn and I are to go to town.
Certainly.
Mr. Grady of the Red Lion Inn.
Oh, Mr. Grady. So good of you to come on such short notice.
Yes, Mom. Nice place you have here. You expecting company? Looks like you planning a Christmas array.
It's quite so.
But where are your guests?
Precisely why I've summoned you.
Me, milady? Oh, I appreciate the invitation. But I've got to get back to the Red Lion. Oh no, it's so busy.
Oh, so I've heard.
I've never seen anything like it. The place is so full that we literally can't fit in another person. I'm working me socks off. If you'd seen the number of glasses I've had washed today, a few extra, says old Reuben. 100 extra, says I.
Reuben?
He's the innkeeper, paying me double time. Mind you, on count, I'm his best worker. I deserve the wages, but it's slavery, if you ask me.
Your ring, my lady?
It's Winston. Did I not ask you to fetch the innkeeper?
You did, ma'am.
Why am I having a conversation with a dishwasher?
My apologies, but the innkeeper refused.
Refused?
He sent me instead.
Said he was entirely too busy to be summoned,
He is a busy man,
and that his paying customers are his priority.
especially tonight. With the excitement and all, I can answer any question or concern you might have, seeing as I work in the trenches, so to speak. I get to hear everyone's account about the visitors and the new baby.
Shall I try again, ma'am?
No, thank you, Watson. That won't be necessary.
Winston?
Of course, that's what I said, Winston. Don't contradict me.
My apologies.
You're dismissed.
Dismissed on Christmas Eve?
Given the help the sack on Christmas Eve? That's even more heartless than forcing a man to work through the holidays. So that's what being a loyal employee gets you these days. It ain't his fault old Reuben didn't come. You can't hold him responsible for someone else's actions.
Calm yourself, Grady. Winston is not sacked, as you so eloquently put it. He has been dismissed from the dining room to return to his post. Were he to be unemployed, he would have been discharged.
Oh, well, there you have it, good fellow. You can keep your post, after all. No thanks are necessary. We working men have to stick together, eh?
That will be all, Winston.
Yes, my lady.
Look at you.
Now, Grady, I want to know what all the hullabaloo is about at the Red Lion this evening.
Certainly. Well, you see, Mom, since the magistrate has required a census, we are full to the brim with patrons this evening. Well, Reuben isn't one to toss aside an opportunity to line his pockets, so he had the employees rearrange the rooms. He placed dividers right down the middle so he could double book each room, turned one room into 2 rooms.
He is a clever one.
He is that. Well, this young couple arrived with barely 2 shillings to rub together, given her condition and all.
Her condition?
Very far gone.
Far gone?
About the poop!
Pop!
She was, in the family way, very much so.
Ooh.
Beginning
I
pains and all.
I see. Go on.
Well, we didn't have any rooms left, and Reuben had even rented out his own room. But he took pity on them, so he bed them down in the livery stable, beside the Red Lion. They were desperate, see, because she was going to have a baby at any moment.
In the livery? Oh, it's preposterous.
I quite agree. It surprised us all, really. I'm surprised at old Reuben doing it for free, actually. He normally never misses a chance at a fast buck, even for a smelly shed.
Well, perhaps he's getting soft in his old age. It is Christmas, you know.
Still, there was something special about those 2. Can't put my finger on it. They had the baby that same night, right in the middle of that disgusting stable. No crib for the mother, no bed for the mother, and no crib to put him in either. Just a few old rags and the animal trough.
Animal trough? Good Lord.
Still, he looked healthy enough. Good pair of lungs, too.
Babies are common enough.
My Clara and me had 2 babies. Never got to hold them, though. Died in the belly. Miracles just the same. Don't know why God chose to keep them. But it's not for me to question his wisdom above my own. So when a husband and wife bring a child into the world, regardless of the means or circumstance, sorry.
Is there any more to your tale of this child?
Actually, there is, Mom. People have been coming by the inn to ask about them and see them. The Shepherd and King families, the upper and lower class, bringing the little man gifts. You know, this baby reminds me of a story I read once.
Now that you mention it, it does seem rather familiar to me as well. Thank you for your time this evening, Mr. Grady. Please thank your employer,
Mr. Reuben.
Yes, Mr. Reuben, for allowing you to come. Please allow me to compensate you for your time.
That's not necessary.
Oh, but I insist.
Oh, I couldn't, my lady.
Very well.
Although, it would allow me to buy something nice for my Clara.
Ah, yes, something
Thank
nice
you.
for Clara.
You're too kind.
Certainly. Winston. Mr. Grady is ready to return to the Red Lion, please.
Yes, my lady. This way, sir.
Merry Christmas.
And to you.
Our guest is leaving so soon?
Yes. I have all the information I require of him.
Well, with your permission, I will escort Miss Evelyn to town before the hour grows too late. Who knows? Perhaps I'll draw some inspiration for my new book.
Very well.
I was thinking, since we've had cancellations for the event this evening, I was wondering if I might invite Mr. Cratchit to come dine with us. With your permission, of course.
I suppose that will be fine. Perhaps he too can shed some light on the subject at hand. We'll discuss it at length over dinner. Properly served at 7. Don't be late.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, mercy.
Lady, is there anything else you require?
Yes, please tell Miss Evelyn that Charles is ready to escort her to town.
Yes, my lady.
What a Christmas this is turning out to be.
So I have taken the liberty to cancel the gala this evening. It seems as if it will be a small gathering of family only this year.
Well, family plus Charles.
Well, family will do quite nicely to suit my taste.
Oh, and he's extended an invitation to his friend, Mr. Cratchit.
You consented to this. We know nothing of this man or of his upbringing.
I saw no harm in allowing him to dine with us. We'll have more than enough provision.
You ring, my lady?
Quite right, Winston. I suppose that we must bend to the inevitable. Tell Miss Pancake to prepare a simple 5-course dinner with a fresh pot of tea, and then you and the rest of the servants may go and enjoy yourselves for the rest of the evening.
I fear, my lady, that I am the only one left.
What? What do you mean?
I am ashamed to report that the others have deserted their post and some time ago, and they wanted to see for themselves what was unfolding at the Red Lion Inn.
Well, this is unsupportable. How are we supposed to manage for the whole evening with only one servant?
I agree, Grandmama. Who's going to brush my hair after dinner? Or turn down my bed covers after supper?
Or pour my tea?
Or put out my nightdress?
It's just appalling.
It's just ghastly.
Unthinkable.
Perhaps some fresh air would do us all some good. We could join them and discover the truth of the matter for ourselves.
What?
It might be rather jolly to go down and see what all the fuss is about, don't you think?
Absolutely not.
How demeaning.
Surely you jest.
Of course, I much prefer to stay at home and wallow in self-pity because no one chose to attend my gala this evening.
Well, what are you standing around for?
My apologies, madam.
Fetch my wrap.
And mine.
It would appear we're all going into town for a bit.
Grandmama, Catherine, we have returned.
Here, allow me to take your coats.
Thank you, Charles.
And warm yourself by the fire. I have to put my thoughts on paper while they were still fresh. This may be my best manuscript yet.
Mr. Cratchit.
Please, call me Tim.
Tim, how long will you be staying in Devonshire?
I am not certain. Long enough to settle my father's affairs. I am to meet with his lawyer the day after Christmas.
Perhaps he has left you a great fortune, enough that you can establish yourself here, start a business.
Well, that is a kind thought, miss, but I do not think that will be the case.
Oh?
I've never known my father to be a man of substance.
Oh.
Yes, in fact, I am embarrassed to say that he spent quite some time in the debtor's prison. He was a gambler, rather fond of speculation, and often his wages were lost to such vain pursuits. He was a philanderer of sorts.
A philanderer.
I'm afraid so. And when my mother couldn't satisfy his debt, she was in prison as well.
Oh. How old were you when your parents were taken?
I was a young lad, all of about 10 years old.
Whatever did you do?
Well, what could I do?
What could you do?
No respectable gentleman would hire a young lad with a disability, so I went to work in a factory. They don't care what you look like or how old you are, provided the work gets done. But I was lucky. One of the linemen took me in,
Oh, I took you in.
called me Tiny Tim,
Oh,
on account I was so thin and frail.
oh, so thin.
My meager salary went each week to pay their debts.
What a sad tale. How long were they there?
About 2 years. I tried to visit them as often as I could. I remember one Christmas Eve, after I'd finished my work in the factory, I went to see them.
Oh, you went to see them.
Yes.
And how sad to be separated from your family at Christmas.
Yes, well, that year had extra orders to fill, so the manager rewarded us each with one shiny copper penny.
Copper penny.
I wanted to bring my mother a small gift for Christmas
Oh,
when I finished work, but coppers won't buy much of anything.
You poor dear.
But as fate would have it, there was a flower girl standing outside the factory gate
Oh, sweet little flower.
with her basket of flowers.
Oh, little basket.
They had begun to wilt and fade from the cold air, so she gave me what she had left
Oh.
for free. I was so excited to bring them to my mother.
Oh, so excited.
I tried to give her my penny, but she refused, kissed me on my cheek, and went on her way.
So sweet. What a precious sentiment.
Yes, I thought so too.
But
But when she saw them, she became furious that I would spend my hard-earned money on such a frivolous gift.
oh,
Even when I told her that they cost me nothing,
they cost you nothing.
she still would not accept them.
Mother.
She chastised me for not selling them in the street to make the money to get her and my father out of prison.
Oh, my goodness. I think I might cry. I could never behave so wretchedly.
Well, I stepped outside of that prison. I fell to my knees. I prayed that God would help me.
Oh, you prayed?
I didn't want to turn out like my parents, wasting away in prison,
No.
uneducated, irresponsible, and ungrateful.
No, you're responsible.
So I never saw them again after that.
I never saw them. Well, what became of them?
Well, I heard later that my mother died from influenza,
Oh.
and last month my father fell prey to an unseemly demise.
Oh, crushed by one horse open sleigh. Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry.
Well, it was inevitable. But with God's help, I went to school, got an education, and made something of myself. I became an accountant. I am rather good with numbers.
Accounting is an honorable profession.
Yes, well, I may not live in an extravagant home like this one, but I have a very comfortable life.
What do you suppose will happen to the little baby we saw this evening? What a humble way to begin your life, being born in such a wretched place.
Well, yes, it is not for us to know. It's in God's hands. And I'm sure the day will come when his parents share with him his humble beginnings and how the town celebrated his birth.
With gifts and singing.
Yes, it reminds me of another child born on such a night in much the same way.
It does?
Well, yes, the Christ child, baby Jesus.
Oh, I've never considered that before, but you are quite right. We used to read that story every year when Father was alive.
You used to?
Yes, well, when Father was alive, but it seems we've grown too busy over the years to carry on that tradition, always bustling about to find the perfect gift, attend the holiday galas hosted by the social elite.
Well, what a shame. It happens to be my favorite Bible story.
Oh. Would you read it to me?
Well, perhaps we could read it together.
Oh, all right. I get to be the angels.
Very well. Okay, let's see here. All right. Okay. The book of Luke, chapter 2. And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. So all went to be registered, everyone to his own city. Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child. So it was that while they were there, the days were completed for her to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Now there were in this same country shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And behold, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were greatly afraid. And then the angel said to them,
Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy. For there is born to you this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign to you. You will find a babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger.
And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying,
Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
You have quite a flair for dramatics.
Oh, so I've been told.
It seemed appropriate at the time.
Rightly so. Shall we continue?
Oh, your hat. Yeah, please.
So it was, when the angel had gone away from them into heaven, that the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has come to pass, which the Lord has made known to us. And they came with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. Now when they had seen him, they made widely known the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all those who heard it marveled at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept these things and pondered them in her heart. Miss Evelyn, are you all right?
Yes, well, I was just considering the similarity between the two infants. You don't suppose?
What?
Well, I know the Bible talks about the return of Christ one day, but I never thought it would be as a baby again.
Oh, no. I do not think that will be the case at all.
Well, then what of the child at the Red Lion?
Well, I believe that this baby was born to serve as a reminder, point us back to our Savior this holiday season.
Well, I guess it's like the nativity we display at Christmas.
Yes, very much like the Nativity. But even that is often just regarded as just decoration.
Oh, I suppose we've all been preoccupied with our own vain pursuits. Galas, carols, shopping, and such. You must think me a foolish woman.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. There's nothing wrong with wanting nice things, or singing carols, or attending holiday parties, as long as our focus is on the true meaning of Christmas. Emmanuel.
God with us. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep that same spirit all the year. It is the best and most perfect gift for everyone, regardless their station.
That's right. Miss Evelyn, if I may be so bold,
Yes?
I have something for you.
For me?
Yes. When we were in town earlier, I saw you gaze through one of the windows of the shops.
Yes.
And
I was looking in the window.
couldn't help but notice your...
Philanderos! Choose happiness. Choose happiness. Yes.
Well, I couldn't help but notice
Yes.
your fondness for chocolates.
Ah! Oh! Tim! You shouldn't have. Oh, but they seem to be
Melted.
They seem to have melted in your pockets. Oh, but I love them. Oh, Tim, I shall think of you every time I shall think of
is not much. But enjoy the time we've spent together.
So am I. Oh, but I have nothing to give you.
You could.
This will be the best story I have ever written. Going to town was precisely what I needed. So what have you two been talking about?
Tim was kind enough to read the Christmas story to me.
It was my pleasure.
Are you all right, Evie? You seemed a bit flushed.
Oh, I think I was standing too close to the fire. Seems a bit warm in here, don't you think?
No, it feels all right to me. I was thinking, aren't there similarities between the birth of Jesus and the birth of the child at the Red Lion?
Well, similar, but not the same. Not even close.
It is something to consider.
Of course. I only meant... Am I interrupting something here? Where is everyone?
Well, I don't know. I've never come home to an empty house before. Even Winston is missing.
You don't suppose they've gone to see the
Grandmama on Baker Street? With all those disease-ridden philanderests? I wouldn't think that's the case at all.
Well, surely not. But it is a season for miracles.
Tea, please.
All right, they arrive.
It would appear that the staff have returned
Yes,
to
my
set the
lady.
table for dinner.
We were waiting for you.
Allow me, madam.
You, Dowager, Duchess of Devonshire.
Timothy Cratchit at your service.
Grandmama, Tim, Mr. Cratchit is the man I spoke of earlier. Lady Cecilia's brother's second cousin.
But you may call me Tim.
Too informal for my taste, Mr. Cratchit.
As you wish. Lady Granger, I would like to thank you for extending your invitation for me to dine with you this evening.
Oh, of course. I do hope you've made yourself at home.
Indeed I have, and Miss Evelyn has been a great hostess in your absence.
Oh, has she?
So good of you to say so, Tim. Mom, Mama, I was quite surprised when we returned home and no one was here.
Well, with all the talk of the Red Lion and having to cancel our Christmas gala this year, we decided to see for ourselves what was transpiring in town.
And by the time we had arrived, the crowd had dispersed, leaving the family all alone in the stable. Now, I've never seen someone with so little be so content with what they have.
Even I was touched by the love that they share. One must never discount humble beginnings. Every great castle began with the first small stone. We can always look for a greater tomorrow. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Cratchit?
Indeed I do. I am very well acquainted with humble beginnings.
Well, in fact, we were just reading about the story, the Christmas story, before you returned. I know we just read it, but would you be so kind to read it again for everyone after supper?
Absolutely. Only if you'll read the angels again.
Would that be okay, Mama?
I don't see why not. And then you can lead us all in carols by candlelight.
I can lead us in carols.
Winston, I believe that we are ready to serve ourselves here at the table. What has Miss Pettigake prepared for us?
I thought rather than tea, you might enjoy a cup of wassail punch, followed by creamy vegetable soup, herb roasted hen, Duchess potatoes with seasoned gravy, carrots, green beans, cranberry sauce, and sticky toffee pudding. A simple 5-course meal as requested.
Oh, heavens, it's far too much for the 6 of us to eat.
Well, there are more than 6 of us in this room, and the table is set for 11.
Surely you're not suggesting.
Oh,
Splendid idea, Charles.
What a wonderful gesture. Please, won't you join us?
Lady Granger has graciously extended an invitation for us to dine with her family and guests. Please take a seat.
Oh, for pity's sake, if we must endure the awkwardness of the evening, let us put aside our status and simply enjoy a Christmas meal together, shall we?
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think it only fitting, after the events that we have all witnessed this year, that we give thanks to God above for his provision, his blessings, and his grace. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the reminder this Christmas that you came to us as a baby in a manger, Jesus. Your perfect and gracious gift for a lost and dying world. To set aside our differences to enjoy your faithful provision. And you have blessed our family in such a way that we're able to bless others. We ask that you bless the hands that have prepared this food, and bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies, and our bodies to your service. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please.
That Christmas dinner was remembered for fondness for many years to come. Christmas dinner with the staff became a tradition at the Granger Manor, as did reading of the Christmas story. Tim and Evie were married after a respectable time of courtship and opened an orphanage and school financed, from a distance mind you, by none other than Dowager, Duchess of Devonshire. In her effort to end the vicious cycle of children in their wrangle-tangle clothing, perpetuating the behavior of their philandering fathers. But to give them a safe place to live, an education, and a hope of a better life. And me? Well, I finished my manuscript, a retelling of the events that occurred that Christmas. I changed the names of those involved, lest the Dowager consider herself a heroine in the tale, even though she inspired the title in the first place, a Dickens of a Christmas. So, we bring this chapter to a close, and we bid you all a very Merry Christmas to all.
To be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Toll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. Let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ the Savior was born on Christmas Day.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God is there in the Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
coming out tonight and enjoying the production of Dickens Of A Christmas. If you would join me in giving a round of applause to our servers and our cooks tonight. Certainly couldn't have done it without them, and to everyone that came early and helped set the tables and decorate the sets and all of that extra grunt work. We appreciate them so very much. And hey, how was that sticky toffee pudding? Yeah, we're ready to have a little of that ourselves. But again, we appreciate you. We thank you for coming. Wish you the merriest of Christmases yet. Good night.
Good night.
Miss Buttercake's recipe for a happy holiday. Serve often for a Christmas spirit that lasts all year. Add half cup of friendship, a cup of thoughtfulness. Cream together with a pinch of powdered tenderness. Very lightly beaten in a bowl of loyalty with a measure of faith. 1 cup of hope and charity. A heaping tablespoon of each, gaiety that sings and the ability to laugh at the little things. Moistened with the joyful tears of compassion and heartfelt sympathy. Bake in a good-natured pan. Serve often for a Christmas spirit that lasts all year.